What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Game Day Tarps podcast, episode 68. We've got a little bit of a different one. We're welcoming in Zach Berta from the Checking From Behind podcast. Zach, how's it going today, man?
I'm great. I appreciate you guys having me on today.
Well, let's get started and get right into it. What kind of things do you guys get into over at Checking From Behind?
Yeah, so we actually cover all 32 NHL teams. We're kind of more like an NHL-based podcast. We're actually going over season previews right now, so this is really the time of the year where we really talk about all 32 teams, and then obviously throughout the rest of the year, it's all news-based, or maybe there's a team that's hot or cold, and we talk about them, etc. And so it's me, and then Preston. He is my co-host, and I write for the Hockey Writers covering the Buffalo Sabres. So a little bit of other like side journalism stuff, but yeah, that's kind of the basis of what we do over there.
Nice. Well, let's talk about the off season a little bit. What do you think was the biggest move this off season?
I'm looking at Mitch Marner to Vegas to sign and trade, and just strictly off of what was expected. We all knew that Vegas was going to take a hard run at Mitch Marner, and then as free agency got closer, we were looking at Toronto would go to the league about tampering with Vegas and Mitch Marner and all that stuff. So to keep the Maple Leafs quiet, they're like, here's Nicholas Waugh for a 1-for-1, at least get something back. And the Maple Leafs are like, that's fine. We'll take him back from Mitch Marner. But I overall thought that was the biggest move. One that isn't too far behind also is Noah Dobson going to the Montreal Canadiens for Emil Heineman, the 15th and 16th overall pick, which turned out to be Victor Eklund and Kashawn Aitchison, which fell right into the Islanders' laps. But I look at those two trades as those were the two biggest trades by far, just moves in general in the NHL offseason. And I don't really think anything topped it.
I know we were pretty big on the Marner to Vegas move over here, Ryley. We probably talked about it more than a few times. Do you think Marner's going to have like a little bit of a breakout in Vegas, Zach?
Yeah, I think him and Eichel are going to light it up. You can see two line mates right there just together put up 100 points each. Plus, you can get a pure goal scorer like a Pavel Dorofeev or even a Buchnevich, who was playing with Eichel for a lot of last season on the first line. So you can get whoever to pair up with Eichel, Marner, and I think that both of them, you can see Marner break his career high of 99 points or 97, whatever it was he set this past season, and get maybe 105 points. Maybe you see him get 80 to 85 assists, where, you know, he has some of the best vision out of any player in the entire league. Pair him up with a guy like Jack Eichel who can do everything. And I think both of them, they're going to be sick nasty together, if you ask me.
Ryley, what do you think of the Toronto Maple Leafs roster now without Mitch Marner? Like, what do you think happens to the Leafs this season? Do they excel or do they kind of hold back in the standings?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really like anything that they've done, right? Talking about Tavares coming, right? You strip a guy of the captaincy, you ask him to take no money. Like, if I were Tavares, it'd be hard going back. Obviously, he just wants to stay at home, which is fair enough. But the way they're treating their stars, the way they let Marner get absolutely just shit on by the media all the time, right? The way that they treated the Tavares situation, the way that they're putting everything on Matthews now with less support without Marner. I know they maybe have a little bit of a deeper roster, but it's a lot of middle six guys rather than top six guys, in my opinion, right? Scott Laughton, Nicholas Waugh, like you're kind of at that middle ground where I feel like they did take a slight step backwards, and it's going to rely a lot on Matthews and Nylander and the goaltending, because if you look at all the top teams in the league, they still aren't one that has a top 10 goaltender. You know, Wall is maybe 15 on a good night, 25 on a bad night. So I think they're in a tough spot if they think that they're going to win and go far, in my opinion.
You mentioned the goaltending. That's something that in Toronto always hasn't been the strongest. Do you think that these two guys, Stolarz and Wall, are the guys to run with?
No, but if you're looking at losing Marner, to me, why was there not a goalie that they went for last offseason, right? We could see this writing was on the wall. Sure, you wanted to do, but wouldn't one more run with a good goalie versus one more run with a bad goalie and Mitch Marner have been better? in my opinion. Like Hellebuck was potentially not going to re-sign in Winnipeg. Could Mitch Marner have pulled him away from Winnipeg? I don't know.
That's tough. Connor Hellebuck, you're talking about a Vezina Trophy winner. I think even if you're pulling him away from his team in Winnipeg, I don't know if Mitch Marner does it, a 1-for-1 Mitch Marner deal. I don't know.
In the hypothetical, if they were going to lose him, right? If he wasn't going to re-sign, but he did obviously re-sign, and that's just hypothetical. But
true. Well, one of the other biggest moves of the offseason involved a team that Zach is really locked into, the Buffalo Sabres. They ended up trading J.J. Peterka to the Utah Mammoth. Ryley, we were recording, and I believe Colton was with us as well, our draft preview or our draft prediction video, right as that trade got announced. And we were sitting here thinking, what is Buffalo doing? Are they going to get number 4? But obviously, it didn't end up that way. Zach, do you want to give us your thoughts on the J.J. Peterka trade?
Yeah, so I have two thoughts on it. One, when it happened, I woke up that morning and I was livid. I was like, there's no way that we gave up just JJ Peterka for a top 4 defenseman. Granted, he's young and has some term, but a top 4 defenseman, and then right now a third line player who has top 6 upside, but isn't really developed like how JJ Peterka is. And then I thought about it longer and I was talking about it more throughout the couple weeks following. I think the value isn't there for Buffalo. I think the value side of the trade, yes, Utah won. You look at JJ Peterka, he can put up 70 to 80 points in his prime. He's trending even better offensively than this past season. But defensively, he wasn't great. He's a liability. And the way the Sabres feel like they're building the roster is around, you know what, instead of trying to outscore every team, let's try to stop opponents from getting inside the high danger areas and making it harder on our goaltender than it already needs to be, because their goaltending honestly is not super strong. They don't have a top 20 goaltender in the league where they will win you a game or they might lose you a game. They're in that situation where they won't win you a game, but they can lose you games. So Michael Kesselring, he brings that physicality, that deep partner for Owen Power, which I feel like he's going to help Owen Power really unlock his full potential in Buffalo. And that's not a slight at Owen Power or whatever, but he just hasn't had the right deep partner or the right chemistry to really develop his first 3 to 4 seasons in the league. And then you go over to the Josh Stone side of things, where defensively, he is a phenomenal defensive forward. He reminds me a little bit of Zach Benson, where he just offensively, he can produce, but he's just a little bit snake bitten. He gets a little bit unlucky and he can't really score on a night to night basis, at least at the moment. We saw in at the end of the 23-24 season was when Daeden came over from Arizona State, I believe it was. In 11 games, he had 9 points. So we've seen the potential from Daeden. He didn't really get a much of an opportunity in Utah last season. Only played 50-something games, averaged about 12 minutes time on ice. Again, not much of an opportunity. So this is a trade where JJ Peterka can help Utah potentially make the playoffs this year, but then Kesselring and Daeden can help Buffalo take that next step into at least being in the conversation too. Maybe at the deadline, they're 3 to 6 points out, and it's like, can they make a run at things that they stay consistent and stay hot? So this is a trade where I really have to see it play out the first couple of years to really be like, they won, or maybe it's an even trade. Who knows?
Yeah, actually, I have a quick one there. Do you think Buffalo, this team, makes the playoffs before 2030 in the Atlantic Division, in the East? Like, does it even look possible for them? Like, I just don't think it is. They're stacked up against a wall.
Yeah, you outside of Boston, like there's every team is trending upwards right now. Florida, they're not going anywhere. Tampa Bay, as long as they have Kucherov, Point, Hagel, Cirelli, and the rest of the crew, they're not going anywhere. Toronto, of course, is not going anywhere. Montreal, trending up. Detroit, they have a bunch of defensive prospects and goaltenders coming up through the system. Before we know it, not only are they going to be able to score, but also they'll be able to keep the puck out of the net. And of course, Ottawa, they're not going anywhere. They're trending up. So it is going to be hard for this team to make it. In order for this team to make the playoffs before 2030 and to get to that 20-year playoff drought, which would be absolutely absurd, they're going to have to need Devin Levi to honestly turn into a top 10 goaltender in the league. They already have Dolly. They already have Tage Thompson. They have Alex Tuck. But at the same time, those guys are already 27, 28. Dahlin's 24, 25 years old. But like Tage, even though he can score 50 goals, he's already 26, 27. Tuck is turning 30 in a year. You have some other guys. And granted, the Sabres are the second youngest team behind the Canadiens in the entire league. But you also need internal development as well as going out and getting some NHL vets. Like you look at a team like Columbus, for example. I thought Murchenko and Monahan and Fantilli had phenomenal seasons helping Columbus almost steal the playoff spot from the Canadiens. But what did they do this offseason? Instead of being like, let's rely on internal development, they went out and got Miles Wood. They went out and got Charlie Coyle. And now they have a Jack Greaves in a Devin Levi situation where Jack Greaves now is looking like he's going to make the roster out of camp, whether he's a starter or whether it's Merz Lincoln. So instead of having to rely so much on internal talent from Benson, from Quinn, waiting for your prospects like Rosen, Hellenius, Austin to come up, you also still have to fill the void with middle six NHL proven players, not some fourth line guy. Like, no offense to Justin Danforth, but he's not your answer. Like, offensively, he's going to be fourth line guy. So I think it's a lot of it is honestly roster building. And if Devin Levi becomes that top 10 goaltender, franchise netminder, and then they fire Kevin Adams, I don't like calling for people's jobs because, again, this is people's livelihood, but you also have to earn your way and make your money by building an NHL playoff caliber roster. And I don't think Adams has done that.
Well, we talked about
Do you think
a strong. Oh, sorry, Ryley. We talked about
Sorry, go ahead.
We talked about a strong division, the Atlantic Division. What about a division that used to be super strong, the Pacific? When teams from the East Coast would go on a Western Conference swing, I know, Dak, you're probably very familiar with this with your Calgary Flames over on the West Coast. But how long do you guys think it will be until we see the Western Conference, or at least that Pacific Division, that teams have to go through and get beat up and only get like 2 of the 6 points when they go through like that California swing?
I don't think it'll be long.
What's that?
It won't be long, I don't think, right? Like, Flames are coming, Canucks are coming, Sharks are 2 or 3 years away from being good, Ducks could be good. It's the Central that's going to fall apart. Stars are old, Avs are old. Like, yeah, I think the Pacific will be hard again.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Dakota.
Oh, I think Edmonton's probably a contract extension and a goalie away from being an elite team. Calgary, I'm going to say 5 years before that team even becomes dangerous again.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Well, I don't know. Frost really hasn't proven much. Farabee hasn't proven much. Zary, I would love to see him break out, but unfortunate injuries keep him away from that. We haven't really seen anything from Parekh, right? Like, yeah, he's amazing in the OHL, but we haven't seen him all that much in the NHL level. I think Wolf is going to be an amazing player. He's already proven that as a rookie.
What do you think they do with Parekh? Like, obviously we've talked about this before, but it's closer to the season. Things are like the line is almost there. Do you think he gets his games and then gets sent back, or do you think he makes this roster right out of camp and is able to produce?
I think it depends on what they're doing with Anderson. If Parekh has, because he's injured right now, or they're keeping him off the ice for just to be safe or whatever. But I think it really depends on when Anderson gets traded too, because Anderson plays with ball, I believe. And I think they want to pair Uyghur with Parekh. But again, I think it comes down to when Rasmus gets traded, how well of a camp Parekh has. But I would probably give him a year in the A just to see how he does, or at least give him half the season in the A.
So I look at the Pacific Division. I don't think Vegas is going anywhere. I think LA they're kind of tiptoeing right now on the line, whether they're going to improve or whether they're going to fall off a cliff. Edmonton, if you keep Connor McDavid, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. They have Draisaitl and Bouchard already locked up. Calgary, I was low on them last offseason. I'm higher on them this offseason. I think Dustin Wolf's an amazing guy. I think Connor Zari and Matt Coronado are great. Nazem Kadri, one of the best players on that team so far. And of course, biggest question is what's going on with Rasmus Anderson and et cetera. And of course, Zane Parekh on the blue line. So I think the Flames, they're an interesting team heading into the season. Vancouver Canucks are another interesting team. They need a bounce back season or else Quinn Hughes is completely gone. He'll end up shifting his ways over to the East Coast to play in New Jersey. We'll see, though, really what happens with them. Vancouver, Elias Pettersson needs to bounce back. You need Brock Besser to bounce back. Of course, I know 8-year contract in free agency going back to Vancouver. So, maybe the pressure's off of him. He has stability. He's locked up. He can play his game. And overall, I'm just, looking at Thatcher Demko as their goaltender. He needs to stay healthy. He's a phenomenal goaltender, but please, please, please stay on the ice. And then for the other 3 teams, the Ducks, Sharks, and Kraken. Kraken, they have about 25 centers they've drafted so far, and they're like their 5 years of existence. Like somebody has to go to wing, and including that, they have Beniers, they have Wright, and they have Stevenson already on the NHL roster as proven NHL guys. Like you need to do something, and the roster outside of really those 3 guys, plus like Jared McCann, it's not great. Joey Dakota he's a good goaltender. He can still develop into a better one. And I love what the Ducks and Sharks are doing. It's only a matter of time before the Ducks and Sharks take over that Pacific Division. Give it probably 5 years, honestly, before those teams are really making a name for themselves again. So I see a world where in about 3 years, the Pacific Division could be the strongest division in the West, whereas, like Ryley brought up, the Central Division, it's just getting old. Dallas and Colorado are getting significantly older. St. Louis is already old. You have Winnipeg, where they're starting to creep up there in age. They still have some superstars that are below the age of 30, but in 2 years, they will be 30. And then, of course, like Nashville, their average age is about 55 years old. Like they were bad last season with 68 points, and they just have a bunch of aging old superstars. This team in 2018 would be like a 110-point team, but it's 2025. So yeah, and of course the Minnesota Wild with the Kirill Kaprizov question marks, whether he's going to come back, whether he's not, etc. So the Central Division's looking like in about 2 to 3 years it will be on the decline.
All right. Well, real quickly before we go on to the next segment, why don't we go around the table and you each give me a surprise team, a sleeper team, a dark horse team for the 2025-26 season. We'll start with Dak.
I'm going to go with the Hurricanes.
Okay. They're a sleeper team for you?
I think they're going to be a sleeper team. I mean, they just got the acquisition of Ehlers. I think Stank's going to have a great year this year. Yeah, I don't know. I think they can make it past the first round. Did they make it past first round last year? No.
Yeah, they made it to the second round.
Oh, second round. Yeah.
Or third. They beat Washington, didn't they? In the second round?
They went to
They made it to the third round, yeah.
See what I got.
Yeah, they lost in the Eastern Conference Final.
Oh, well then I guess they're not much of a sleeper team, I guess. My bad.
That's what I mean. What about you, Ryley? Who's your sleeper team?
I'm going with the old and gold, boys. I think the Nashville Predators are going to fucking prove that last year they just had a bad year. Saros, Yossi, Stamkos, Marchessault. Like, even if Marchessault and Stamkos put up 20 goals, they're going to be in a good spot outside of everyone else that they have. I think they'll be fine. They had a year where they just couldn't put anything together, and sometimes that happens. You know, being a Lightning fan, like they missed playoffs in 2018, whatever year it was, 2018, 2019, right? Like, or it just happens sometimes. You just have a bad year. So they just got to move forward, and hopefully they can get back in the playoffs. I think they're a potentially better team on paper than Minnesota is. So I think they could bump Minnesota out and get in a wild card spot. Not top 3 in the division for sure, but wild card.
Yeah, I'm looking at a team in the Eastern Conference in the Metro Division, like the Columbus Blue Jackets. I have them actually in my Metro Division finishing 3rd. They are going to surprise a lot of people this season. Last season, they only missed the playoffs because of a freak Marchenko puck to the face in the bench in the beginning of February, and then also losing Sean Monahan for about a month and a half due to, I believe it was like a wrist or forearm injury, something like that. So losing your 2 of your top 3 to 4 players right off rip for an extended period of time hurts. And they missed the playoffs by 2 points last season. So having Monahan, Marchenko, Fantilli is only going to get better. Voronikov and Kent Johnson are going to take the next step. Kent Johnson had 50-something points, I think 57 points in 68 games last season. You can look at it. If he plays 78 to 82 games, looking at a 70-point season already if he continues that production. So the only question mark I have for that team is the blue line. Genuinely, like, it's good. Like, I don't like the Provorov contract, but I think he's still a really good defenseman. And even with that contract, they still have $15 million in cap space. So a team with that much cap space, you can't afford to overpay for a guy like Provorov, especially when the cap's just going to keep dramatically rising. And then goaltending, Jack Greaves, I think, is going to take over that starting spot from Merzlikins at some point in the season. He played 11 games last season. Down the stretch, he almost willed that team to the playoffs. Goals against under 2, a save percentage of like 938 or something like that. He is going to, honestly, he reminds me a lot of Dustin Wolf in a way, where you're going to have those two goaltenders, plus I'm hoping Devin Levi be like the face of the league. But Jack Greaves, I have a ton of hope for. And this team, I don't see a world where they get worse, especially because they were proactive and still added a guy like Charlie Coyle and Miles Woods. So I have hopes for them, and I think they're my sleeper team.
All right, fellas. Well, those are the sleeper teams for all these three wonderful gentlemen here with me today. But we'll be right back with a blind ranking right after this word from DraftKings. Game on. Week 2 starts now, and every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This isn't just football. It's first touchdown fireworks, anytime TD rushes, and live bets that ride every momentum shift. At DraftKings, every play is your next shot to win. This week on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, you can find lines such as the KC Chiefs at minus 115 favorites to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, or Saquon Barkley at plus 370 to score 2+ TDs. Lines and odds are subject to change. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, grab over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season starts now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-97-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Apply NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. All right, fellas, we're back, and I've got something cooked up for the boys. It's a blind ranking, and we're going to be blind ranking 10 goaltending tandems in the NHL. Dakota, I did add Dustin Wolf and Dan Vladar just for you. And why don't we start with them? Let's start with Dan Vladar and Dustin Wolf. Where are you guys
going
to
scale?
rank?
1 to 10 or?
Yeah, it's 1 to 10. It's 1 to 10. Blind ranking from 1 to 10, and yeah, it's you 3. I'm just putting this together.
I'm gonna say, dude, it's got to be 8 or 9.
Yeah,
They're gonna be low for me.
I like 9. Throw him 9.
9.
Yeah, 9's good.
Yeah.
Vladar brings it way down, unfortunately.
Okay. The next goaltending tandem we have is from the Carolina Hurricanes, Pyotr Kochetkov and Frederik Andersen. Where are you guys putting those two guys?
It's tough.
Would you guys put him top 3?
I like Anderson's so good. Kochetkov, though, he shows inconsistent. I like 4 or 5.
For Anderson
like-
and Kochetkov, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's.
But Anderson can be so bad. He can literally lose 10 games in a row for you. 4 is so like there's some unreal goalie tandems, and to put Freddie Anderson in the top 5 is hard for me. I don't know.
What are we going low as like 7, 8?
No, I could live with 6, but I just
Okay.
don't think Freddie Anderson and Kachekov are top 5.
All right, we'll pop him in at 6 then.
If I'm
Next
wrong,
up-
then it's my bad. If there's worse tandems.
You're good.
Yeah, blame it on Ryley. Blame it on Ryley. Next up, we've got Jonathan Quick and Igor Shesterkin.
Mm.
Is that one?
Is that pre-contract or now?
It's right now. It's like right now.
I like 1. I do because Igor Shesterkin is a top 2 goaltender in the league. And Jonathan Quick has been so good as his backup. But I think there's a couple tandems that are better. But if he doesn't name it, kind of bites us in the ass here.
Why don't we go 2? 2 is a safe bet.
Okay.
All right. We've done lots of blind rankings the past few weeks, and a few of them have come back to bite us in the ass. But I guess the next one, we'll go with the safe one here. It doesn't really matter where you guys put these guys because I think the whole world is against one of them. Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. Where are you guys going with them?
Are they better than Wolf and Vladar by a hair? Are they like our 8? Because they have made the finals 2 years in a row. Like, they're not garbage, but they're not solid.
You look at them, Stuart Skinner can either pitch you a shutout or allow 5 goals.
Yeah.
I think, I would go 8 strictly. Like, I would put them 10. However, though, I think I would take Pickard over Vladar right now, even though I would take Wolf over Skinner. But I think Vladar just brings it down too much.
All right. We'll put them at 8. Next up, we've got the Pittsburgh Penguins tandem of Tristan Jarry and Artur Shilovs.
Go 10.
Oh, God.
We have
I guess
to.
that's our
We
10.
have to.
That's our 10. Oh, hell, hey, Marc-Andre Fleury, though.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
No, but I think he's just going to play preseason for fun. And
Well, it's pretty much just like, a retirement game kind of signing.
Okay, quick pause on the blind rankings. What do you guys actually think of that? Like, why come back for the preseason game? I talked about this with Colton yesterday on the live show. Why not come back for like the home opener or something? But then I was like, there's a record that's actually on the line, and
nobody counts against the cap then if they sign him like that.
Yeah,
if he suits up, like every time they give a guy a 1-day contract, he doesn't play. He's a scratch, right? If he plays, his cap hit counts for the year, right? Like whether they bury him in the minors and he doesn't play or not, his hit is on. Like, and especially with no LTIR or anything, the cap hit would be sitting there.
That's true.
I think he just wants to play for fun with Sid one more time and like
Oh,
do some windmills.
Also, before you continue, then it wouldn't be Wolf and Vladar then, Daeden.
Who would it be? Wolf and
Vladar's on Philly.
Oh, yeah, right. He signed away, didn't he?
It'd be Wolf for Cooley or Wolf for Fedotov.
Fedotov came to Calgary?
Or not Fedotov. I don't know.
No.
He was with Colorado, and then I don't remember.
Right, I forgot that Vladar went to Philly. We're totally wrong here.
Yeah.
Okay, well then it would be Cooley, and I get they're still fine at 9, but it doesn't. Vladar and Cooley are interchangeable.
All right. Well, back to the rankings. We'll go to a little bit of a I don't know what you would call this one. We'll go Jeremy Swayman and Jonas Korpisalo in Boston.
I don't mind them.
Yeah, I think it was just a down year for Swayman. I think he will bounce back. I think he's still a phenomenal goaltender. Yeah, 5's great.
Yeah.
All right. Joel Hofer, Jordan Binnington, St. Louis.
7.
That was easy.
Yeah, 7. I think 7's the safe bet. I think they have a high ceiling, but I also think their floor is kind of low. I like 7.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, fellas.
Oh.
All right. Scott Wedgwood, Mackenzie Blackwood, Colorado.
I like them. I like
Okay.
them.
What do we have
So-
left? 1, 3, and 4?
Yeah, that's why I was like,
Yeah, 4 is fine.
4 is
They're good.
phenomenal. Blackwood was phenomenal for them last year.
Wedgwood is easily one of the best backups in the
Mhm.
NHL. Just consistency is key with him. He's king of that.
all right, fellas. Well, we've got 2 left, and this one kind of decides the whole fate of the blind rankings. I don't know which one I want to go with. They're two Western Conference teams. One guy is like a pretty good. This past season was good for one of them. This past season was really bad for another. I'll start with Seattle Kraken, Joey Decord, and Philip Grubauer.
Oh, no. Now we failed.
Yeah.
I guess they go 3. I can't believe neither of the Florida teams made it on here. I was waiting for at least one of Florida or Tampa to have their attendees on here.
So
I hope one's going to be tolerable, dude.
the one spot goes to what do you guys think of that number 1 spot?
Oh God.
This
Kevin-
is
Kevin Lankinen and Thatcher Demko.
I wanted
No.
okay. First off, number 1 and number 3, like everything else besides those two is good. Oh.
Yeah. Who knew there would be so many West Coast teams? Because the West Coast has all the shittiest
Dude,
goaltending.
I was waiting for like either like you said the Florida teams or I was waiting for like Toronto or something like that. And here we are, about 25 West Coast teams. I mean, overall, I thought we did a solid job outside of the last two.
Yeah, outside of the last few, I think it was pretty solid. Dallas or Dak, I had to throw the Calgary Flames tandem on there. Fortunately, 9.
Oh, that's fine, man. I wouldn't even put them in the top 3, dude.
Neither would I. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to touch on before we wrap things up today?
Not off the top of my head, no.
All right. Well, Zach, why don't you let everybody know what you got cooking up on your end and what people can expect from checking from behind?
Yeah, so we are actually in our season previews now and getting into like the really, I guess, training camp portion of the podcast. Now, you guys can find us on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts for the full length episodes, just checking from behind podcast. Then also Instagram, TikTok, X, any social media, you name it as well. And plus on the YouTube side of things, I'm going to be doing some NHL 26 live streams, try to do more live streams and interact with the community. So I appreciate any support. And again, guys, thank you guys for having me on the Talk Puck.
Hey, it definitely was our pleasure. I put out a thing in the podcast network group chat, and I got a couple answers back, and I was like, man, why don't we have Zach Berta on? Seems like a pretty good guy. So I checked out a couple of your videos on YouTube, and they were pretty good.
Thank you.
Well, fellas, we thank you for tuning into this one, episode 68 of the Game Day Tarps podcast. Make sure you stay tuned. Check out everything on Believe, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify for our audio versions, and we'll see you next time. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning into another video over here on the Game Day Tarps podcast and the Hockey Podcast Network. We've got so much more where this came from, so smash the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell, turn the notifications on so you never miss a beat. For myself and the rest of the guys over at Game Day Tarps, we thank you, and we'll see you next time.